Hello everyone, and welcome to Toontown Offline Dev Diaries. Today I'm going to be showcasing an unfinished and so far unreleased zone in the Toontown Offline Seagot Scrooge update. Now this zone is the abandoned train yard, so I'm going to be showcasing the actual area and the instance connected to the area. I'm going to talk a little bit about how it was developed, our plans for the future, and a little bit extra. So, start off, this zone was primarily developed by myself and Smokin Foreman. He modeled this zone, and I did most of the coding for the zone and the instance. So, let's just have a little pan out of how the zone itself looks. Now, it looks very barren. That is half by design, half it's not finished yet. But the idea when I first came to Smokin was, okay, we need an abandoned train yard or one that's not very busy. So you can see here, you come from Cellbot HQ. It's a pretty small tunnel, and this is where it brings you this big open area with, a few trains moving through, just like in Cashbot HQ. No cogs roaming around, nothing really going on. You can get hurt by the trains still, but that's pretty much it. Now, I did say it's unfinished, and this zone specifically is forever going to stay unfinished because there are plans to completely redo it in the future. But had we continued on with this zone, we would have added several things. We would have added turnstiles for boarding the instance. We may have added a couple of cogs, but not many. He really wanted to portray the idea that this is abandoned, or the cogs really don't use us that much anymore. We might have done other stuff to it, but yeah, this is the area. So over here, right over here, you can barely see it. There are these two little circles on the ground. Now these are two resistance symbols. Now, if anyone's ever played Wizard 101 who's watching, there's these things called sigils, and sigils are these circles on the ground that if you walk up to it and you press X in Wizard 101, you will board the sigil, and then a timer will start, similar to the elevators in Toontown. And then once the timer runs out, you'll start the dungeon, or in case of Toontown, you'll start doing the cog building or going to the VP. But in this case, we don't necessarily have an elevator or anything of that like, so what you would do is you would stand on here with up to one other toon, and they would bring you to the instance we have. Now, had this been finished, we're going to have it so the toon will instead maybe go near a turnstile, or, they have these black and yellow things that go on the edge of train stations. We might have had like a yellow strip here, and if you go on this particular part, you could have started the timer, but for now we just had these circles in the ground as a temporary measure. So I'm gonna go on them. The camera's a bit flipped. We're gonna have to wait a good 30 seconds here. But this brings you to a brand new instance that we made for SOS. This is still pretty much going to exist in its entirety. I did most of the coding, and again, Smokin Foreman did the modeling for the zone you're about to see. Alright, so this is the train instance. I'm not going to really explain too much of the story behind it, but pretty much when you're on here, it'll be you and maybe one other toon, and you're tasked with defeating these train cogs. These cogs work on the train. I forgot what level range I gave them, but they range, I think, from level 7 to 12 or something along those lines. I have insta-kill mode on, so I'm just going to kill them as I talk. So, lots of Toontown fans, something they've always wanted to do was ride the trains that you see in Cashbot HQ, so we thought we'd give it a shot. I'm gonna zoom out here. Now, the trick with this zone is that the train isn't moving. The train's actually still. The thing that's moving are all the buildings to the side of it. I kind of learned that trick by playing Wizard 101 also. They have this like boat in this quest line where the boat's not moving, but the icebergs around it are. And only when I viewed it in a model viewer did I kind of notice that. So this employs that same trick. Now, there wasn't much that went into the design. As you see, most of the stuff here is just reused from Cashbot HQ. Of course, this track down here is brand spanking new. And what I wanted to do initially is have there be several tracks, maybe to the left and right, with other trains going on to make it seem more busy. And we still might do that, but in this version, it is there's one single track going through wherever this is in Cashbot HQ or Cognation. There's just a bunch of buildings, and you're going right through the middle of them. There's a seemingly endless supply of buildings, and it's hard to notice because you're in battle, but there are cogs that are flying in between these buildings that you go by. So my idea when adding them was, okay, I want to make it seem like this is an actual lively area that the train's going through. I don't think I succeeded quite well because, you know, there's only 3 cogs or 2 cogs every like distance, but that was mainly because I was lazy at coding it. I mean, it wasn't completely finished. Had I coded that successfully, it would have done what I wanted it to do. I pretty much just copied and pasted some code to get that to happen though. Another thing, we didn't exactly do much work on these train models. I kind of rushed it a little bit. Of course, these are the exact same as in Cashbot HQ, except we have a ladder that you can use to go between them. But, you know, we didn't exactly do the best job, because you can see we applied some effect to the models that you can see right through the logo here. That's not very good. But in a revised state, hopefully we wouldn't have that anymore. I know TTR did a really good job at editing the Cashbot HQ train models for their event. Like, they made an interior for some of these and everything. Would we do that in the future for our stuff? Maybe, I'm not sure. But like, we don't want to copy TTR, we want to do our own thing. But speaking of that, I will note that this was developed in March of 2018. Overall, what you see here probably took under a week of development time. I mean, we did work on it a tiny bit after the fact, like maybe weeks or a month or 2 after the fact. That was only for some small fixes though. And as you see, this scene right here doesn't look that good. Your tune's sliding across. The jump doesn't look that flattering. It's kind of janky. So there was obviously a lot of polishing to do here, but as you can see, the objective is really just for tunes to defeat waves of cogs on the train and get to the conductor, which is at the front of the train, which we're almost there actually. As for music, so the music you heard in the prior zone was made by Smokin Foreman, but the music you hear in this zone was made by Retro Aesthetics. I forgot whether or not he's already had this track public or not. Some tracks of his we use for offline are public before we ask him to use them, and they stay public. Some we may ask him to make for offline, but he'll make public after the fact. Some aren't public yet. I'm not entirely sure, but he made this track you can hear right now. Ah, there we go. So this is the final boss of the train. It's a bit buggy, was never properly finished. I'm just going, ooh, my camera messed up there. There we go. So what you have here is a level 30 cog, which is the Cashbot Conductor, and then you have 3 level 12 rubber barons next to him. And of course you have the special room, which is modeled by Andrew Vance, a good friend of ours on the Toontown Offline team. So obviously we have some tricks here. This is in front of the train, but you really can never tell. You have some cogs up here because, yeah, I wasn't entirely done making a cutscene for this yet. But yeah, I believe the level 30 cog has like 600 health, something along those lines. We followed the same equation that Toontown Online used to determine the health for all the other cogs. I believe it's x plus 2 times x plus 3. So I think on level 12, x plus, or it could be x plus 1 plus x times 2. I'm not entirely sure, but this guy has like 600, 900 health, something along those lines. We did not end up making special attacks for him, although we probably would have. But again, we're going to keep this entire concept in Seek Out Scrooge. It's just going to be revamped heavily. Some of the things I've described earlier, such as me wanting several different tracks with several trains going by, optimally that'll be added. We're gonna make cutscenes better, might vary up some cog battles a little bit more to make it more interesting. We're gonna fix up the cars, and of course we're gonna fix up this final battle. I won't say all that entails, but we're gonna make it better than just this right now, and we're actually gonna make a bit more sense, because all of a sudden, oh, whoop-de-doo, here's a conductor, you know, and he's not even named properly, he's just named Skelecog. But overall, I think, you know, out of all the people who have given me their feedback on this area, and compared to all the other stuff we have for SOS, surprisingly, this has gotten the greatest feedback, and I actually want to know why. Because, don't get me wrong, I love this area. Like, every Toontown player who's been to Cashbot HQ has always dreamed of actually going on the trains, or seeing where the trains are. Myself included. So I get why people love it, but like, I don't know, I think we made some pretty other good stuff for SOS. But this in particular, I guess people really like. I don't really know what else to add on it, but it was a joy to develop. I really just love the effect of going through here. But I think it could be much better, and I want it to be much better. There's always room for improvement on that end. But yeah, if you have any feedback for this little instance in the zone prior, please feel free to leave it in the comments. Like I said, we plan on making... Oh, I chose a gag, didn't I? No, okay, these guys are getting destroyed. Yep, and you just dance, and the fight's over. Oh, yeah. That's a bit buggy. And, yeah, after that, you can just walk around and do nothing. But, yeah, if you have any feedback for anything you've seen here, feel free to leave it. Like I said, we're making a lot of changes. We plan to make a lot of changes to this area. It is by far not done yet. I just thought I'd make a video on it because I am pretty bored, and I know myself and Smokin Foreman worked hard on this, and I want to show off some of my work, because often it just seems like, you know, what are you guys working on? So, but then again, this is over a year old, this content. But I'm really looking forward to working on it again, because it's pretty interesting. I think we can expand a lot with this idea. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else for me to say. So if you're interested in seeing more Dev Diaries, I will gladly show off maybe some more SOS stuff. It depends. The reason I'm so nonchalantly showing this off is because, well, I mean, unfortunately, back in April, a rogue staff member or two leaked their source, so this is kind of public already. So if you have any questions about anything you see here, just ask. I'll not reveal everything, because there's lots of stuff that isn't necessarily public yet in terms of story and even some assets. So I won't exactly delve too much into that, but anything else regarding this, I will try my best to explain or give you some behind the scenes, like dev analysis or whatever. But yep, I think I'm done rambling on here. Thank you for watching, have a good day, and stay tuned for my future videos. Thank you, bye.